Welcome to Super Tuesday, presented by Boost Mobile. We come to you from Carver Hawkeye Arena. Two teams who've won 5 in a row, but Michigan has lost 5 straight against the Iowa Hawkeyes. Jason Benetti, Tom Crean along with you. And look, you saw both these teams up close and personal last year. What do we get in this game tonight?
Well, we're going to get two fast-paced, high-efficiency, two very skilled teams that are both on 5-game winning streaks. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be an exciting game. Last year, these two teams made 23 threes between them. I think we're going to see a lot of long shots tonight.
Maybe some long rebounds, some fast breaks to go along with it.
Now you're sounding like a coach. Exactly.
Look,
long shots lead to long rebounds.
I've been around you all day. I got to sound like a coach. That's the way this works.
You took one of my better lines. So here we start. The long shots lead to long rebounds. But the way these two teams shoot, they're probably going to be taken out of the net a few times.
Yeah, Iowa, about 82 points a game, but you saw it during this win streak, 90-plus points per game, even without the services of the graduated Peter Jock. So Iowa has it first, and the very dangerous young point guard, Jordan Bohannon, who averages about 12 points a game. Bohannon on Muhammad Ali Abdur-Rahman. Beautiful drive and stuff for the Hawkeyes to open. And my goodness, what a finish from Cook.
That's important for Cook to get started by playing decisive basketball. Put the dribble out in front, be on the attack, don't probe, go right at it.
You've played in this arena. You've had some big games in your career in this arena. What's this crowd like when it gets loud?
Oh, it's deafening. There's no question about it. And I know we're without the students tonight, but there's a real faithful here. And I think as the game goes on, it'll pick up even more, especially if the Hawkeyes have early success.
This is Isaiah Moss, the redshirt sophomore guard out of Chicago, who's a big-time scorer. This three won't fall for Jack Nungy, the freshman.
There's our first long rebound, Jason.
But no fast break
Not
off of it.
Not yet. Good transition defense from both teams.
Now the John Beilein team, such a great passing group, right, Michigan?
Oh, there's no doubt about it. I think that's one of the reasons they have such good balance in their scoring with the double figures, because not only are they efficient scorers, they're very efficient passers, and they really build on making the next pass just like that.
Charles Matthews catch and shoot for 3.
Rockman comes off the dribble. He gives a look at the roll, and here's Matthews shaking up to the top. It's very good. Excellent, quick, simple ball movement.
That's the Kentucky transfer, Matthews. Cook the miss, and the rebound for Mo Wagner, who's coming off that ankle injury. Still not completely 100%, but he did get back in the lineup in the win against Jacksonville Saturday.
No, and he can still really space, and he's effective. That was not a great cut by him, and that's one of the things they worked on today in their walkthrough with their slips, and that wasn't as efficient, and Iowa played with good hands.
That's going to be a foul against the Hawkeyes. You said it to me during shoot-around that Mo Wagner is so good in his cuts normally.
Well, what he is for a big player, he's extremely fast and quick with those cuts. He can pass the ball and be darting to the basket, and they run some really good sets to get him there. But the other thing he's got, and it'll be affected a little bit tonight maybe with the injury, but very, very good at setting a screen and stepping back. Not just popping away, but stepping back to create some distance and range on his jump shot.
Wagner cutting to the basket that time, but he never got the ball. Matthews traveled, so Michigan, which only turns it over about 10 times a game, turns it over there.
Little too quick with Matthews that time. He's really predominantly a right-handed driver. He got that one down. He takes a big, long first step usually, and that one he just picked up the back foot.
How'd you play Iowa defensively?
Well, you wanted to mix defenses on them. The one thing you don't want to let them do, and especially we saw it early with Cook, is let them have free reign in an early post-up situation or in a single post-up situation. Another good drive by Cook. He's not wasting dribbles, and where Tyler Cook gets in trouble and where he's not nearly as effective is when he wastes dribbles. Here he puts the dribble out in front, attacks the bottom, gets to the spin, goes up and gets fouled. That's playing efficient basketball.
He went right after Duncan Robinson, who picks up his first personal. This is a surprise. Iowa, as a group, just 66.5% from the foul line, 296th in the country.
Well, and Michigan's not shooting it much better, which is really, really not indicative of either one of these teams. Especially Iowa's usually one of those teams that is making more free throws than their opponent attempts. And Michigan is usually, every year with John, a very good free throw shooting team.
Here's the freshman point guard, Eli Brooks, with 10 to shoot for Michigan. Wagner, the skip, intercepted. Picked off by Cook. Very active start for him.
They can find a way to get a second foul on Duncan Robinson. It can change the early stages of this game.
Michigan doesn't have a whole lot to replace him with on the bench, although Beeline's going about 9-10 deep as Abdur-Rahman couldn't finish.
Now, Duncan Robinson is such a good help defender, and even playing them last year.
Bohannon for three.
Great touch. As a guard like that with Bohannon, we always talk about getting our shooters, even with a point guard like that, getting them lost in the game. And he is so good at creating space for himself off cuts and off reading screens. And he's very, very comfortable being up high on the floor.
Here is Robinson, and he gets fouled. You were talking about the scouting report that you had of Michigan in past years and what Duncan Robinson meant to them.
Well, he's improved so much, and I know he's the only Division III transfer that's come in and got the scholarship. He's earned it.
Yeah.
You always had to prepare for him as a shooter. There was no doubt about that. But last year, we really prepared for him as a help defender. And we didn't do a very good job of it because he covers so much ground in the sense of helping his teammates. And he covers for them in pick and roll situations. He covers for them in the post. And one thing that I think you have to try to do to eliminate some of that is put him in the action. Put him where he's being driven against, put him in the ball screen, and take that help element away. Because in my opinion, they're not nearly as good right now when he is not in a help situation of being able to help cover for his teammates.
2 for 2 from the line for Robinson. Moss catch and shoot, missed the three, and Matthews clears it for Michigan. On the drive and an offensive foul against the Wolverines. We were talking about your scouting report. We're going to go inside your notebook with the keys to the game from Tom Green, directly from the notepad of the coach after this.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by Boost Mobile and in part by Papa John's. Free pizza with any pizza purchase of equal or greater value.
You're watching the Big Ten on ESPN. We come to you from Carver Hawkeye Arena, and the defining characteristic of working with you, I've noticed, Tom Green, is all of your notes that you come with. I mean, you have such detailed notes on players. It's like you're scouting them as a coach. And here's your notepad, your keys to the game. Would you tell us what this is?
Well, I'd be a good spy because no one could ever read this. In fact, really, I think there are doctors all over the country that would kill for that handwriting. But right now, the biggest thing right now with Iowa, you got to take away the transition seals and post-ups in the break. And because of the motion offense, you've got to be able to navigate the screens so well. And there's no doubt about that. And bottom line, you've got to be able to get back into transition on this team. And when you are going against them, you've got to attack their pressure. If you're Michigan, you have to attack the pressure.
What's with the capital letters? I got to ask you.
I think it's just something, I don't know.
They're taking over the world.
Somewhere, don't ask me to explain it. That's why I quit writing letters to recruits and started texting because they could never read the mail. But with Michigan now, one of the biggest things with us is you cannot leave the corners. They are so good at playing out of the corner. They're so good at making that next pass, at getting that back cut, at setting you up. And then when the ball is being driven, they want you to overhelp on the dribble so that they can find the outlet. So when we talk about taking away their outlets, we're not talking about taking away the full court outlet. We're talking about taking away those easy passes that lead to three-point shots. Here, this is where looking to attack the pressure against the changing defenses of Iowa, which we'll see probably most of the evening they'll change defenses.
Yeah, Fran McCaffrey's played a lot of zone in the past against Michigan. Abdur-Rahman missed the three. And Iowa with Luka Garza, the freshman who's checked in off a 25-point performance in their last game over the weekend.
What I love about him, he's averaging 16 points in the 5-game win streak and coming off the bench. He just brings another energy and hustle level to the game when he's playing.
Isn't it interesting? Sometimes you get it from guys as a starter, sometimes off the bench.
Oh, absolutely. He's coming in the game, and because of how hard he works, he's going against a fatigued big man, okay? Or he's going against the other team's backup big man who very likely may not run and cut and play as hard as he does in a two-way situation of getting up and down the court. And I think that's one of the things that makes him a special player. There's the seal in the paint.
Against Robinson, the help from Teskey forced him to give it up. Bohannon just barely got the feet set and missed.
Yeah, but that's what they want. They want to get that early seal, run it against the break and in transition.
Nice find to Teskey. I'm glad you read us your keys because we wouldn't have known, but that was your first key for Iowa offensively is get that early seal.
No question. We see it right now with Cook in the paint. They get that one-on-one. They've got to go inside when you get Robinson like that in the post because Michigan's coming with the double team on the catch. They're not even waiting for the dribble to set the double.
And a nice find to Garza for 2.
Cook right now is the key to the game. Michigan has been indecisive with their footwork and indecisive with some of their passing, hence the fact they've got the turnovers. Cook has been efficient since the beginning of the game, and it's one reason that Iowa's off to such a good start.
Why do you think Michigan's been indecisive?
Well, the footwork error for Matthews is uncommon, but Michigan is built on making the next pass, open pass, don't deviate, don't try to create, make the play that's there, and they haven't done that yet.
Matthews will go to the free throw line for 2 shots. The Kentucky transfer. And how do you think he fits into this offense, though, if it's predicated on passing with the individual athleticism?
Well, because I think he had a year. I think he had a year to get used to it. But when we look at this inside play, Daly has stepped in and done such a good job of helping this team become better. He's playing the backup point. He's about 6'7". And what the Iowa big men do, much like the Michigan big men, is they really drop in space to get free on penetration. And in the case of Matthews, when you look at his game, so good with the right hand, the free throw situation's got to get better. He shot 41% at Kentucky his freshman year. He's in the 50s now. The first one was really good. I think when he misses sometimes, it's because he's leaning to the left. And sometimes he's too straight up and down. And when you watch his most effective half-court play, he's low, he's explosive, he goes up, and sometimes on the free throw situation, he can get too tall, and he can fade to his left.
This one's short, and tipped to Teskey, who's got the rebound for Michigan.
Teskey is a hustle player. He follows up plays. Big point today by John Beilein in the walkthrough was free throw rebounding.
He said, look, if we're not going to shoot it well, which we're not right now, we've got to look for that tap. We've got to look for that ability to get it back to ourselves as they did right there. And that too is good for Teskey.
Nice job. I like Isaiah Livers in the way that he can drive the ball. That's one thing DJ Wilson did such a very good job of for Michigan last year, was driving and playing and rebounding out of the corners. Livers has done the same thing for this team. Not to the level of DJ Wilson yet, but certainly on that path.
Freshman out of Kalamazoo, replacing the guy who ended up with the Milwaukee Bucks, DJ Wilson. John Beilein in season number 11, looking for his 100th Big Ten win. It would come tonight with a victory.
Well, and you just put that number up there, 40 years of coaching and 40 years of being a head coach. That is incredible. That is so hard to fathom for all of us that have coached, that he's never been an assistant. 40 years being a head coach and having the record that he has. It's amazing.
Don't want to bring it up because it's a sore subject for your family, but he's a huge Buffalo Bills fan. Very pleased they got into the playoffs.
You just said you didn't want to bring it up. No,
yeah,
what was it?
I didn't want to bring it up, but I did anyway.
Did somebody tell you had to bring that up?
Oh, no.
We had to say that.
I just like to stir the pot.
Open up, I guess. Not a great weekend for the Harbaugh side, and we're still trying to recover from it. That's why I was happy to be back in basketball.
Yeah.
I tell you what, Buffalo's got nothing on that weather flying into Cedar Rapids last night, does it?
You need your mittens around here. My goodness. It gets cold here, like colder than other places.
Yeah, like 17 below last night at 1:30 in the morning, like that kind of cold.
Not that you were counting.
No.
Garza missed it short, rebound batted around, and Wagner got a hand on it for Iowa but couldn't find a teammate. There's the lob and the stop for Isaiah Livers.
He is really active and efficient. They've got such a good group of freshman players, and I think we're going to see it too when Jordan Poole comes in the game.
5 in a row for Michigan to take the lead at 12-10. Bohannon will always look for his shot, and here comes Abdur Rahman. And that is going to be a foul against Iowa. The high roller seats wanted to travel, but they're not going to get it. Instead, Bohannon called for the foul.
Rockman throws it up in the air. Great play off the break. That's Michigan basketball efficiency. Michigan is telegraphing their passes right now, which is very uncharacteristic of them. They're looking right at the receiver. They're not creating angles. And the one thing that Iowa had to do in this game tonight was be more active with their hands. Both of those things are happening right now inside of the turnovers. Michigan is not making the simple pass, and Iowa has really become aggressive with their hands, which has got to be a good sign for Fran McCaffrey, and not a very good sign for John Beilein with the passing, especially with the time they spend on footwork and passing the basketball.
They lost two pretty good players in terms of Walton and Irvin, who were able to pass the ball, but Wilson as well. And you saw Wagner essentially coaching on the sideline during the break as Abdur Rahman tees up a three and knocks it down.
Right away, the passes were decisive. They were on time. They were on target. All right, there was velocity on the ball, and that's the Michigan. They didn't even need to dribble to create any of that, which is when they're at their best.
The very opposite of what we just saw coming out of the break.
No question about it.
Now Daly for the Iowa Hawkeyes, scored about 90 points a game their last 5, and Garza fills it up for 2 more.
Again, 2 possessions right there where neither team overused the dribble, and they were crisp and efficient with their passing. And that breaks the defense down. You don't always break the defense down with the dribble. Sometimes you break it down with the pass. And that is exactly what's happening right here. The ball's moving quick.
There's that zone against Michigan that we saw Fran McCaffrey use in the past. Abdur Rahman got another for 3.
Ready to shoot. They're going to have to get out and close out a little bit quicker. We talked about the active hands coming out of the break. Right now the hands aren't as active. The Michigan hands are active, but the Iowa hands are not as active.
Lead feed from Abdur Rahman, and 2 and a foul for Michigan. Beautifully done on the break for the Wolverines to go up by 8 from Xavier Simpson, who's been a revelation this year.
What Xavier Simpson's got to me is he's got some of the quickest, fastest, and I'm going to use this term, toughest hands. He is so aggressive with his hands. It'd be like he's a boxer. He's got quick feet. He's becoming a better shooter. There's no question he was a key recruit for them a year ago, got a chance to learn behind Derek Walton. But what he's done, he has been a huge part of this 5-game win streak with some of the unseen things that he does that aren't in the stat sheet defensively, with the activity that he has, the way he'll go down and try to tie up the ball in a double team, and just very aggressive.
Maybe it said he dropped the X from his name. He's now just Xavier with a Z. He says it's a personal story that he's not willing to share, but he's a little lighter in the letter department.
Well, whatever works for him. Whatever happened to those hands, keep doing it.
You said tough hands. What do you mean by that?
His hands are they're tough. They're aggressive. I mean, you think of a boxer. You don't think of a boxer. You want to shoot a soft ball, but when you're playing defense, you want to have quick wrists. You want to have aggressive hands. You want to have flexed wrists and hands. It's such a huge part of it, and that's exactly how he defends.
There's Wagner going to work for Michigan, and the Wolverines have their largest lead up to 11 now.
Well, whatever John did out of that timeout and whatever points Wagner made, they have definitely responded because it's a whole different level of efficiency. Again, Cook, speaking of efficiency, very effective when he doesn't waste dribbles, when he uses his feet, puts the ball out in front of him, and attacks the rim. Now they've got to get more of that on the defensive end.
As they match up with Garza against Livers. Switching defenses, Fran McCaffrey against Michigan. Abdur Rahman, the pass into the corner, and the 3 for Simpson.
He got his feet set. That's where he's made a lot of improvements. A year ago, he would hop into his shot. Now he's stepping into his shot, much more effective, and he's becoming that much better of a catch-and-shoot shooter.
Garza lipped it out, and the save for Michigan. Here comes Abdur Rahman again. And that's the first miss in 7 shots for the Wolverines. What do we have? Offensive foul against Moss in Iowa. Gene Steratore off his NFL Sunday with the call.
Well, right now, What
do you think?
He's moving. He took him in the chest. That's a 50-50 call at best right there. But he did hit him in the chest. But at the same time, he was definitely moving. It could have gone either way.
Gene had a very nice compliment for you pregame. He said you look calm.
Well, it's a different look right now. I've also got a tie, and I think that's got something to do with it.
Is that what it is?
Last couple of years, no tie at coaching the game, so not real calm on that other sideline. So both of these coaches right now, efficient, look sharp. So maybe I'll try that someday.
How about that? Michigan has looked great on the offensive end. There's the extra pass. Simpson cans the three.
There it is again. He gets his feet set.
9 for Simpson.
Now the pass is not great as it goes to Simpson, but he's ready to shoot the ball. He steps in. He doesn't rush. He knocks it down. He holds his follow through. Another three for Michigan.
Land Rover halftime report coming up. Tom Crean, beware. Seth's going to have a question for you in a moment. Question for Notre Dame, guys. Jay, they're going to be without Bonzie Colson, as you see, for 8 weeks. We'll dive into that, but can they survive to get to the tournament for him to get back?
I think they can, but T.J. Gibbs and Matty Farrell need to have huge seasons now without Bonzie.
So you have him in the tournament?
I do. I just said that.
Tom Crean, 2 teams, Purdue, Michigan State, separated themselves. How many Big Ten teams do you think will get in the NCAA tournament?
Wow, thanks, Seth, for throwing me off the hook. I'm here trying to concentrate on 2 teams, and now I got to think about the whole league. I'm going to need a little time on that one, Jason.
See, you said you're much calmer in this chair, but that's the other side of the coin
Yeah,
of this
what a
chair. Is you
setup
have to
from
think
Seth.
about 351 teams now.
Can't he just call Joe Lunardi? Why do I have to answer that right now? I'll get an answer for him, though.
I'm sure Joe's got an answer. He wants your answer.
I'll get it for him.
Okay. We've got a research team on it. Simpson, Duncan Robinson got the jumper.
All that activity that Iowa had early with the hands, Michigan has not turned the ball over since the first TV timeout. And right now the activity of Iowa's hands hasn't been nearly as effective. That helps.
That's the guy you go to, right?
Absolutely. And they used the whole half court. They went from side to side, not wing to wing. They used the corners. And right now they got to get that activity going again with the hands and put more pressure on each pass like they did to start this game.
Robinson whipped it to the Iowa bench, and don't forget, it's the first Super Tuesday of college basketball season. Texas Tech and Kansas from Allen Fieldhouse. Jayhawks have never lost to the Red Raiders. They're 18-0 since the Big 12 was created. You can watch that on the ESPN app and also on ESPN. How many times have you been to Allen Fieldhouse?
I've never been there.
Really?
I've never been there. But I have a feeling Keenan Evans is looking forward to that trip with Texas Tech. I'll get a chance to go there later in the year. But 1-0 against Kansas, or 1-1, I should say, lost in the Final Four. And then last year we beat them in Hawaii. But I think Texas Tech is one of the toughest, hardest playing defensive teams, and a very, very effective drive and kick, take what the defense is giving them type team. That's going to be a great game.
Cook with the lay-in for 2. You go to a Chris Beard practice in Lubbock, that is as high energy, get after you as any shoot around.
That's something I haven't had a chance to do yet, but it sure looks that way when you watch him on the floor.
Now the crowd's into it for Iowa.
Well, they picked up the intensity level with their defense, and they're spreading the ball out in that half court.
But again, the extra pass, Poole knocks down the 3.
Jordan Poole is going to be a fantastic player. He's going to be a great scorer in this league. He shoots one of the softest balls, and just so efficient with his jump shot, so smooth, getting better at so many different things from Michigan. And it's almost, not to sound trite, but it almost surprises you when he misses a shot. Watching him on film, seeing him in high school, he's made so many strides for this team. He's from Milwaukee, played at La Lumiere Prep Academy in Indiana, played with Brian Bowen, played with Jaren Jackson, and is coming to Michigan and been very, very effective.
Just 18 years old as of the middle of June.
Well, he's wired to score, and what he's doing for John, and he's getting better at moving the ball. He's very good at moving without the ball, and he'll get even better playing inside of this offense. And then the way John Beilein and his staff teach driving and pounding the dribble and making the simple pass and waiting for the ball screen. All those types of things will really play into his career, and it'll be very good for him. You can definitely see how it's affected Matthews in a year, sitting out what he's been able to come in and do inside of 15 games at Michigan.
What'd you think of the Michigan shoot-around today?
I thought it was very effective in the sense that John was teaching from stretching, all right, to the very end when they were shooting free throws. John was making reminders, making points. His staff was very involved. I loved seeing the fact that the managers were involved, and I thought both shoot-arounds were good. Two different shoot-arounds, but both accomplished what they wanted to accomplish.
And so did Cook. 2 and a foul for Tyler Cook.
But I'm not surprised in watching. I'd seen Fran practice before, but I'd never seen John run a walk-through. And when Cook is coming down the floor, playing with his eyes up, getting the ball out in front, again, I've said this 5 times, I'll say it again, not wasting dribbles. When he puts the ball, he is such a hard matchup problem. We had problems with him last year here in Iowa City. We went to the Big Ten tournament after giving up 23, 24 free throws to Peter Jock. We put our focus on the game plan in D.C. on Tyler Cook because of how effective he was in the post.
Duncan Robinson had it blocked. Nice recovery by Iowa and Nicholas Baer. Cook down the lane. Blocking foul called. He'll get 2 shots.
This changes the game for Iowa when he can bust out on the break like this on the dribble, when he can see the floor. And what I love about him, he's moving his head. It all started with the activity defensively, got beat on the drive. They rotated over for the block shot with Baer, who creates so much help for his team. Ball gets out to Cook. He drives it. He reads. He's got a defender to beat. He comes down the lane. He's at the line.
There is that second foul for Duncan Robinson. 5:03 to go. Likely going to come out for at least a couple minutes, right?
Well, and I think, I think what happens now when Duncan Robinson, and I'll put him in the same class in the Big Ten with Dakota Matias and Vic Law, and I would probably say Nicholas Baer is in this group. They are so good at covering for their teammates defensively in a help situation. As I said earlier, we game plan for Duncan Robinson. They move the ball. They help move their teammates. They're all experienced guys. And if I was going to make a run, they need to make it without Robinson on the floor.
Abdur Rahman the find, and another 3 for Michigan. Livers tells the crowd to...
What did we say early on? You can't come out of the corners on Michigan. They play so well out of the corners. Poole's hit one. Livers has hit one now in the last little bit. You cannot overhelp out of the corners. It's exactly what Michigan wants you to do.
Neat little wraparound pass from Simpson to Teske. So after Livers told the crowd to be quiet, Teske continues that march to deafening silence. Cook gave it up, and that is a wild shot for Ryan Kriener for Iowa. Oh boy, Livers gave up the jumper, drove instead, and Michigan leads by 15.
Their transition defense isn't. What happened? You look at the fact of coming into the game, don't come out of the corners, and that's exactly what you can't do. Livers is in that corner. There's an overhelp situation, not matched up. He knocks it down and take away their outlets. There are 3 people around Simpson in the paint, kicks it out, jump shot.
Fran McCaffrey's wife Margaret is here along with his youngest son Jack, and Fran's son who plays on the team as well, Connor, has had a rough go of it. He had mono, he had a tonsillectomy, and has been under the weather, so we wish the best to Connor and the McCaffrey family after a long medical couple of days.
No doubt about it. Connor's here tonight, but he has really had a tough time. And I'm telling you who's having a tough time without him is the Iowa basketball team, because he moves the ball at such a rate. He's a very good passer. He can shoot the ball, but the ball moves crisply, it moves cleanly, it moves quickly.
Like Matthews for the slam for Michigan, leading by 17.
Michigan's activity has changed so much. That's what they can't let happen. Cannot let Bohannon have any space. But Michigan right now is getting out on the break. They're making the simple play, and they're creating so much off of their defense.
How so?
Well, right now they're more active, all right, and they're playing inside that three-point line. Their hands are more active. Their feet are active. They're getting more deflections, which are turning into steals. They're limiting Iowa to one shot. And Iowa's not getting enough movement. Now, when they have, and when they've got the ball swung to Bohannon and gone inside out, they've been better. But now it's being dribbled too much instead of being passed crisply.
That wasn't the best zone possession, right? But Matthews stuck the jumper.
He squared it up. He squared it up. He didn't rush. He didn't fade. But right now, they've got to get back to getting that ball inside. It's a long game.
Simpson the drive for 2 more, and what a half for Xavier Simpson, over 10.
And Fran's got to be beside himself in this transition defense, because not only are they shooting it quick and not getting any offensive boards, but they're not getting back and stopping the ball and stopping the next pass.
I took your line earlier, long rebounds off long shots, but they've got some transition off of it now.
Well, they do, and Iowa's got to get to the offensive glass. Right now, it's not about playing in a shootout with Michigan. It's about coming down, getting the ball moved, going inside out, finding a way to get it into Cook, finding a way to get other people on the glass, and one offensive board against Michigan is not going to cut it. And I'm sure Fran McCaffrey knows that.
A couple timeouts ago, Fran McCaffrey was rather unhappy in his huddle, and rightfully so. Livers with 5 to shoot. Simpson now off the leaner. Did not draw iron, so they'll blow it dead. Don't forget, Wednesday doubleheader tips at 8 Eastern in the NBA. LeBron and Kyrie get together. Cavs and Celtics, and at 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 Pacific. Russ, Carmelo, and Paul George have the Thunder against the Lakers. NBA Countdown at 7 on ESPN and the ESPN app. I know you watch a lot of basketball.
I'll be in the Bristol studios tomorrow night, and I'm really hoping that they have both of those games on the monitors.
I think we can work that out for you. I think there's more than one.
They have a bank of 6 screens. I think they'll find a way to get that game on. That'll be fun to watch.
There's Luka Garza for 2 more. He's got 6. His uncle, the all-time leading scorer for the Slovenian national team. He is from Bosnia and Herzegovina. Abdur Rahman missed the 3, and Garza the rebound.
Well, they were fortunate because, again, that was a missed open 3. Iowa is moving on the catch. That's what they've got to do, get on the glass. They're moving on the catch, over helping on the penetration, which is giving too many open jump shots and open looks to Michigan. Instead of having one guy control the basketball, Michigan is just bringing that help defender in, making the pass, and that's one of the reasons they've hit so many threes already in this game, because of the over-help situation.
Saw Garza there. His family out in Europe loved that Iowa's in Italy preseason, because they got in the car and they drove maybe like 8 hours or something like that. Got to go watch Luka play. His grandfather made the trip, so a pretty neat thing preseason for Iowa.
Oh, I can only imagine. And he played really well over there. That's where they really figured out that they've got a guy that is going to be able to come in here as a freshman and really be a factor for their team. And he has been. As we mentioned earlier, he's the leading scorer at 16 points during the 5-game win streak, and he's coming off the bench.
So foul against Michigan off the entry pass. We thought you said it off the top, Tom. We thought we were going to see some offense, some transition offense. We certainly have tonight so far.
Well, and again, Fran McCaffrey at halftime's got to get it implored that they've got to get back, and they've got to get the ball stopped, and they've got to get to the corners, and they've got to quit overreacting to every dribble, because right now it's just freeing up for Michigan. And it all starts with the break with the corner, all right, with them throwing it ahead, and it ends with them getting you to overhelp so they can find a way to get it to that corner for the shot, for the drive, for the baseline drive. That's how they keep the ball going at such a good rate.
Why is the corner such a hot spot?
Because it's a long distance, and it creates a long closeout for the defender. So if you overhelp on the dribble, all right, it's that much longer of a closeout by going up to help, and they know it, and they want that spot. And the thing that makes them so efficient is not just the way they shoot out of it, but the way that they can back cut as well. You have to be completely aware of the left and right corners. We see it right now. You've got Matthews, you've got Robinson on the back cut, ends up in the other corner, wide open 3.
And Robinson missed it. Abdur Rahman sneaks in behind with 4 seconds. Out in front, they got an open look, and it wouldn't go down for Matthews, but that's exactly what you're talking about.
No question. They're disciplined in the corners. They're committed to the corners, and right there they did a very good job of going from corner to corner. And what happens with Michigan is they're always putting somebody that can shoot the ball in the left and right corner.
That's a great 12 minutes for Michigan. 48-36. To the studio after these messages, Carl, Seth Greenberg, and the newly engaged Jay Will after this. First half to take a 12-point lead over the Iowa Hawkeyes. Jason Benetti, Tom Green along with you. Look, the Hawkeyes should have just looked at your notepad.
Well, they wouldn't be able to read it either.
Well, so you had the key right there in front of them, especially late in that first half with Michigan's offense.
Well, they're so good. They're committed to getting to that corner. They're committed to it. It's not like they're there once in a while. They're there all the time. They get there on the break. There's no doubt about it. They stay committed to it in the half court. You cannot leave the corners. They're going to get there in transition. They knock it down. They make the next pass. They had 5 turnovers in the first 4 minutes. Some of it was indecisiveness and bad footwork. They've only had 2 since because everything is decisive. They're making the pass. They're making the next pass. They're creating little help situations. And I mean little help because they're not over-penetrating and they're not making penetrating drives that are taking their man to the basket. They're just creating a little bit of help, which is making the kick. And on the other end right now, Iowa has got to find a way to make sure Tyler Cook and Jordan Bohannon stay even more active than what they've been. There's got to be some more screens into this. I think Fran will go into his down screens, where what they call the floppy type action, where you've got 2 guys cutting underneath, coming off screens either way, which is part of their motion offense. When they've had good movement, going from side to side, corner to corner, they've been good. Now one thing they've got to do is create it on the other, and they've got to get a little more help on the drive and dribble, whether it comes off the screening game or whether it comes off the middle pick and roll game. But either way, they've got to get Bohannon and Cook more involved in the game.
Remember what Fran McCaffrey told us in shoot-around? He said, look, when we have been screening for Bohannon instead of standing around and waiting for him to do what he does, we've been a better offensive team recently.
Well, there's no question that that's what they need. And he's got the ball in his hands a lot, which is part of it. But then when he gives it up is when they've got to be really, really committed to finding him.
Xavier Simpson starting the second half, missed the offensive glass, got him a second shot that wouldn't fall. So Iowa down 12 with Bohannon, and we'll see what this offense looks like.
Well, right away, right off the bat there, they didn't wait for the screen. And that's where, if you're going to run transition pick and roll, get that ball screen, which frees Bohannon up, because he is deadly when the defender goes under the dribble, and they're going to need some of that in this game.
Mo Wagner left open off the knockaway by Duncan Robinson to create the turnover.
Look inside. See, there you go. Go inside. Get that one-on-one.
Garza, second chance, no dice.
But that's a good recipe for Iowa. Go inside on that early seal.
A little bit of a cavalier pass from Wagner to Abdur Rahman. And so Michigan has to reset. You mentioned Wagner emotionally, kind of a mercurial guy.
Well, he is. I mean, and when he's emotional, sometimes he can play frustrated. When he plays with emotion, then he plays with a lot of enthusiasm. And he really does drive his team. He is a guy that creates an energy level inside of his team. And I think he's coming off the injury, but when he's at his best, it's when he's playing with great confidence. All right, he's playing effective. All right, he's not wasting moves and dribbles, and his feet are set to shoot the ball. But he's really engaged, and I was really impressed with him in the walkthrough too. Obviously, I'd never seen him in practice before today, but I was really, really impressed with his maturity level and how he was throughout that practice.
It's a weird injury that he has, because he had the ankle injury, but the injury really comes from an extra bone that he has in his foot. Just kind of a genetic thing. He's got an extra bone that's rubbing up against another bone in his foot, creating pain.
I can't imagine what that'd be like. I know I write like a doctor, but I can't think like one, so I can't even imagine how you deal with that. But he is a really, really good player. And his speed and quickness, when he's at his best, is really, really effective.
Bear tipped it, and this is to Iowa. Michigan thought it was off of Bear. Instead, the guy who's really instant energy creates a possession.
Absolutely. And right now, what happens is that's what has to happen for them. They've got to be active. Bear is one of the more active guys. He moves the ball well on offense. He moves without it. He helps defensively, and he's a rebounder. And that's exactly what happened.
Still recovering from a broken pinky, as Iowa will keep down 10 And again, this is a big game for the Hawkeyes because they've already lost 2 in the Big Ten because of the conference tournament location switch. There's 2 extra December games.
Well, that's why this is a key night. It's a big week for them. But it is early. It is very early. This will be the 3rd conference game for both of these teams. Obviously, when it's all said and done, there's a lot of basketball left. Right now, the most important thing is that Iowa find some type of momentum in their half-court offense, and that's a start right there.
Tyler Cook for 2 and a foul. He's got 2 more building on a halftime 15.
Well, Michigan had the plan. Michigan had the plan to double him in the post. But right now, when he's gone away from the basket, which is what he's truly added this year, that's where he's really effective. He shoots the ball with range. He can play off the break in a trail situation. And where he's really made strides, especially I would say in the last 3 weeks to a month, is driving the ball, not wasting dribbles, putting it out in front of him, and getting to the rim. And big part of his improvement is that away from the rim, 20 feet away from the basket.
He lost some of that improvement time last year because he broke a bone in his shooting hand in late November, missed 7 games. So there was a little bit of a learning curve once he got back on the floor.
Well, there's no doubt about that. But Fran and his staff have done a really good job with him. He comes from an excellent high school. He was a teammate of Jason Tatum in high school. Been very well coached at Chaminade back in St. Louis and throughout the summers. So he's got a great future.
Ooh, foul called. Abdur Rahman looked like he might have just lost it. Moss whistled for his 2nd personal.
Well, that right there is where they're very good at getting downhill. They're strong with the ball. It is very hard to take the ball from Michigan. It's very, very hard. And that one he fumbled it a little bit, but there was contact on the reach. That Michigan is really, really efficient. And Rockman's one of the better drivers down the middle of the floor.
You're saying within the lane area?
Absolutely. He gets the ball in the middle and he can drive it, especially with his right hand. But they're very efficient. There you see again with Simpson. They get the ball out in front of them. They're so fundamentally sound with the dribble.
On the other end, Cook couldn't get it to go. The pinball to Bear. Crowd wanted Bohannon to take the 3. He didn't. Instead, a long 2. His shots have not been settled tonight.
Well, he wasn't ready to shoot that ball. I'm with him. That's the kind of offense, and that's something they talked about today in walkthrough. That's exactly what you need. They went inside on the seal, didn't get it, had 2 people to offensive rebound, kick it out to Bohannon, but he wasn't ready to knock it down. The pass could have been better, but he wasn't ready to shoot the ball.
Simpson, extra pass to the corner, and Matthews, no, but the tip is there. Wagner collected and scored.
No block out there. That's the part of things. There's so many things that will drive a coach crazy, but not much more than missing a block out on one of the best rebounders in the game.
Is that number 1 for you to drive you nuts?
It's one. You know what? As a coach, you use the whole alphabet so many times. You can use the whole numerical system, but no question for me, the block out is the biggest thing.
Foul against Michigan and Wagner. He doesn't like it. 52-41. The Wolverines have scored the last 4. It's been a couple years since the Iowa Hawkeyes have made the NCAA tournament, but Tom Crean has put in his application to be an apprentice to Joe Lunardi as a bracketologist, young bracketologist Tom Crean. So what do you think of what Joe Lunardi's got here on January 2nd, Tom?
Well, this is the first time I've ever looked at Joe Lunardi on January 2nd in my coaching life, and I wouldn't probably be looking at it if it wasn't coming in email form every day. But I'm a Joe Lunardi fan, but as a coach, I never really paid much attention to it till maybe near the end. But I know he puts a lot of time into it, and all I know is that it is the 3rd Big Ten game, and that's probably where so many teams in the other leagues aren't even to that point yet, and there's so many things are going to change because people have got to go on the road.
So you're taking the long view.
Well, I am, because it's just so early. I mean, it's January 2nd. But I get it. And I would say right now, looking back at that list, I would not sleep on Northwestern as they get it figured out and McIntosh gets back from that injury. I think Illinois is going to get better and better. And when you've got the amount of players that Iowa's got that can change the game because they've got the depth, that's important too. Right now, they have no answer for Cook inside of the post. I mean, no answer. He's not wasting any time. He's attacking. He's scoring quicker. One of the things Fran had said to us today is that too many times Tyler Cook was waiting for the double team to come or wondering where the double team was coming from. Tonight he's not playing like that at all. He's just playing.
That's why he's got 20 points. As that's a steal for Garza, and see if Iowa can turn it into an offensive possession. Fourth 20-point game for Cook this year, 6th of his very young Hawkeye career. Garza baseline, no. The rebound for Iowa and Bear. Caught up in their spacing with 3 on one side and didn't get an open look out of it. Cook travel.
Yeah, that's what he's got to avoid. They grab the jersey, but that's what he's got to avoid. Sitting, waiting, putting it down, not going anywhere, and not being efficient with his move. And that's when not only does the Michigan defense wait on him, all right, but his teammates are standing around watching him. Yeah, that's probably a grab jersey. My eyesight's not 20/20, but that's a grab jersey.
Well, it helps when it's on the big screen in front of you.
Yeah, that helps. That helps. It's hard to be wrong on that one.
Yeah. Teske got a little wardrobe malfunction going on with Cook there.
I don't think it was intentional, but he still got himself.
Oh, you don't? You're giving some credit there, I think.
Absolutely. So, giving him the benefit of the doubt.
9 to shoot for Michigan. Simpson with a bullet down low, and the lean-in wouldn't go. Teske got his own rebound. And it did clip the rim, so a new shot clock for Michigan.
Good choice to pull it back out, run their offense, get into one of their sets. This is where they need something to slow it down a little bit, not let Iowa have that momentum. And a shot like that will do it. There's the corner again. Livers is so effective. I mean, I'd have to believe that they're trying to build his game into the way that they had it with DJ Wilson, and he is definitely on the road to doing that.
Isaiah Livers, the freshman out of Kalamazoo Central, with 10 in the game. And just when Iowa closes in, Michigan hits a big 3, up 12 on the ball now. And Simpson will double back.
Well, 2 one-on-one isolation moves without movement on the weak side of anybody, and that allows the Michigan double team to come when they wanted to. Early in the game, they were coming on Cook without the dribble, and now they're able to get it with the dribble.
And nobody stopped the ball.
And nobody stopped the ball. And Matthews went left, which if he can continue to build his dribble game and driving game with his left hand, that's going to take him to another echelon.
And now 3 points. Abdur Rahman slams it down. It's a 16-point lead. And again, Fran McCaffrey's team gives up transition buckets to Michigan.
Well, they're giving up live ball turnovers. The transition defense, all right, has not been as an effect. Right now, the bottom line is that
Michigan's rebuilt the lead. Take us inside the play, Coach.
Well, right now, what this is, Michigan loves to dribble handoff into a run-out ball screen. And what happens is they were preparing for the switch today, but the defender went under the screen. Matthews did a great job of having his head up, reading it, crossing over, driving it with his left hand. Excellent play.
The intelligence of the John Beilein coach team.
And the improvement of a Charles Matthews, a guy that really likes to drive the ball right, to be able to get to that right-left crossover and be as effective as he was with that, getting downhill and driving it. That's good improvement.
Out of St. Rita in Chicago, former Kentucky Wildcat. He played about 10 minutes in his one season there as Abdur Rahman missed the layup, got his own miss, and spat it back out to Livers.
This is what he does. He's a hustle player, and they're doing a very good job of offensive rebounding. They're not getting the blockouts on the perimeter. This was important today that they get guard rebounds. We heard Sherman Dillard talk about it, assistant coach that was doing the walkthrough. We heard Fran McCaffrey talk about it. Guard rebounds, which means guards have got to get in and block out.
Abdur Rahman sized up the 3 and missed.
Yeah, that's not his shot, and that's not when he's at his best, shooting a step-back fade.
Off the back cut, you said Michigan was susceptible. They got a hand on that one. And now Pemsel gives it up.
One more. There you go. This is good movement.
Cook to Ellingson with 7 to shoot. Daly got the 3.
Very good offensive possession. The ball was reversed 3, maybe 4 times. They played through the paint. They got it reversed, and they hit one of their hottest players. Daly is, if they're going to come back and win this game, we didn't see much out of him in the first half. I think we've got to see more effectiveness from him. They've got him, he can do different things. He can switch like we've seen here. He can shoot the ball. He's the backup point guard.
And they're going to get Pemsel for having the hands on the Michigan player. Here's the Iowa offensive possession.
Fran McCaffrey's teams have always been so good at this. When they reverse the ball side to side, ball gets driven out of the corner. Ellingson touches the paint. Flare screen from Pemsel for Daly, 3.
Iowa scored the last 5, but don't forget, Monday on ESPN, the College Football Playoff National Championship game presented by AT&T. Alabama and Georgia cross swords at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. It's really a home game for the Georgia Bulldogs, but Nick Saban knows how to win anywhere, doesn't he? You got to know him a little bit.
He really does. I had the good fortune of being an assistant at Michigan State when he was the head coach at Michigan State, developed a friendship there. We were both honored a few years back, along with Mike Bray at the Dick Vitale, Jimmy V Gala, and big Nick Saban fan. What's amazing is he is 11-0 against his former assistant coaches. And I don't know Kirby Smart. I think he's obviously an outstanding coach and done a fantastic job. But that is an incredible statistic.
I thought you were going to say was amazing is his overwhelming personality.
Oh, I think he's got a very good personality. I think he is one of the most, put it this way, if he was sitting right here talking this game, you'd be enjoying it. He is one of the most smart, astute, well-versed on so many different things. I know he loves basketball. I don't think he ever loses pickup games at Alabama.
Right? 2 for Daly. He's got 5 in the second half. We were talking to Lane Kiffin at the Conference USA Championship game. He said Nick Saban, if you let him, would have an hour-long meeting deciding heads or tails. He's that detail-oriented for the coin toss.
You know what? You cannot argue one bit with what he has done.
None.
And Skip Prosser had a great line a long time ago. I don't know if he coined it, but that's where I heard it. Don't criticize success, analyze it.
That's right.
And that's exactly what you need to do with a guy like Nick Saban, because all he's been is successful.
Simpson to the corner, Livers,
again,
big shot!
Again, you don't have to help off the penetration. It's not a penetrating drive. You've got the guy covered one-on-one. That is exactly what Michigan wants you to do. We learned the hard way years ago.
Why do you say it's not a penetrating drive?
Because you can guard that one-on-one going to the rim. All right, you're in front of the dribble. You're not beat. There's no need to be able to bring all that help up inside it.
Oh my goodness, Cook with the one hand.
It's not a drive where you have to overhelp. You have to early help. You have to show yourself that once you overhelp, they read that as good as any team in the country making that next pass to the corner.
Up 10, Wagner. Got it on the rim, but couldn't get it down. And Daly snatches it for Iowa. What do you need to see on this possession?
I like the feel of Iowa on it. Just move the ball. Keep swinging it side to side.
Early shot.
I'm not sure we needed that. He stepped to the left. He's got to get his feet set. He had a challenge jump shot. That's a momentum breaker. He's better than that. Keep moving the ball.
Wagner
got away with the hook.
Post. Missed it.
Now swing the ball. Let's make this a game. Let's have some fun.
Pemsel thought about the shot, instead got it to Cook.
Nice
Smart
play.
move.
Reverse the ball, screen and roll, got it swung to the side, get Cook in a one-on-one. There are very few teams that can guard Cook one-on-one. Michigan hasn't been able to do it all night. Now all of a sudden we've got a ball game. The ball gets swung. The last jump shot we didn't need. It went from wing to the top of the key, inside, got it. Again, same play. Pemsel inside, finds a way to throw it inside. Another bucket. Simple basketball.
Tyler Cook with 24 points. He's on the sideline, though, trying to work out his leg. This is what happened at halftime as well. The trainers were working on it, but he's no worse for the wear right now, Tom Crean.
No, and I imagine, not a doctor, but I imagine it's a cramping situation right now, but he's got 5 of his 6 boards in this half. He's moving without the ball. They're finding him in rolls. He's playing now the way he started the game, which is really, really important. He's only got 1 double-double on the year. And right now, if they're going to have a chance to win this game, he's probably going to have to get his second one.
You do write like a doctor, though. We established that earlier.
Yeah, we have. I mean, I feel smarter. I mean, without a question.
Oh, Simpson. That is a huge bucket for Michigan. Every time Iowa has clawed back, Michigan has had some response.
They really have. And when he gets downhill, he and Rockman are 2 of the better middle of the floor players. And that's exactly where they got him, and he's crafty around the bucket and was able to get under the defender and get the right-hand layup.
Bohannon still scoreless in the second half with 7 and change to go. 4 to shoot. Ellingson missed it. Got a hand on the rebound, and here comes Michigan. Abdur-Rahman decides to attack after slowing it down and missed.
Again, we see that play right there, the hesitation dribble. They used the hesitation dribble so many times today inside of their walkthrough. And again, I've coached against this for so long. But this is probably when you put the film on, you say, this is why we do what we do. This is why we spend so much time working on all of our dribble moves, working on the hesitation dribble. And he made a great read, seeing that Bohannon didn't get bumped out of the lane. What had to happen in a situation like that is one of the bigs had to get back, bump Bohannon out. They didn't do it. That layup getting up under with the right hand, the scoop under the shoulder layup, that is impressive.
Abdur-Rahman, by the way, you see him wearing those pink shoes. He says he's trying to get his swag back, was his actual quote. But he also, they're special to him because when they had that plane mishap last year, they were the only shoes he had that weren't on the plane, so he had to use them at the Big Ten tournament. As we're going to get a foul against the Hawkeyes away from the ball, but special pink shoes for Muhammad Ali Abdur-Rahman, and I really do think you could pull those off.
Well, he can, no doubt about it. And
you don't
to me,
you don't think you could?
I don't think I've ever tried, and I think at the age of 51, that kind of cycle in life has already passed me. But for them, amazing what they went through last year, and going through that, winning the first game in their practice uniforms in DC, and then winning the championship.
Here he is, Abdur-Rahman with a gargantuan shot for Michigan.
Great step in, coming down on the break, attacking the pressure of Iowa, finding a way to get a wide open three. Iowa's not only got to be good in the middle of the floor right now, defending it on the press, but get back and get matched up.
Suddenly the lead swells to 15 again. 7-0 run for Michigan, and a tough 2 that time for Daly in Iowa.
It was. And what Iowa's got to do a better job of right now is waiting on the screen.
You said it. Abdur-Rahman straight down the middle for 2.
He's their best downhill player to me, and he was a year ago. Derek Walton was their point guard and leader. Zach Irvin was a senior. But Rahman was a real problem anytime he got the ball down the middle of the floor in transition or in the half-court offense.
They swarm Bohannon, force him to give it up. And now he's got it back. Got indecisive, and this is going to be Michigan basketball. Let me ask you, how did you try to defend this when you were playing against Muhammad Ali Abdur-Rahman?
Well, he's got to see a second defender. And right now, first off on that 3, you've got to get matched up with him. You cannot give them any type of open 3. But he's got to see a second defender in the paint. You don't necessarily have to trap him, but he's got to see a help defender that's in the path of the basket, because he feels like he can beat anybody to the rim.
Just in his visual path somewhere.
I think so. I think so. And again, they've done such a good job of making him a better ball handler and driver over his 4 years. And he's very confident coming down the middle of the floor. This, again, when he's on the side, is where his effectiveness is not as strong. He doesn't come off looking to turn that corner. There he settled for a jumper because they went under the screen.
This is a block called against Michigan. And don't forget, tonight, first Super Tuesday of the college basketball season on ESPN, Texas Tech and Kansas from Allen Fieldhouse. Jayhawks undefeated against Texas Tech in the last 16 games. You can watch it on the ESPN app. Svi Mikhailuk has gotten better and better and better. One of those improved guys in college basketball, now having to lead the Jayhawks.
No doubt about it, and they've been doing it shorthanded without Billy Preston, and what they've been able to accomplish with even Malik Newman is starting to shoot the ball better. I mean, they're just becoming a better team. I know they had the tough loss to Arizona State, but that's a team, especially when they're at home, and the speed that they play with, it's really hard to prepare for it.
Talk about transition points, especially when they're at home.
Oh, it certainly looks like that on television. I know that when we've played them, and whether it be when Roy Williams was there, or certainly Bill Self a year ago, it all starts with your transition defense. Now, you've got to cover a lot of things. You've got to cover the ball screen. You've got to cover the post up. But it all starts with your transition defense. But that's one thing where Texas Tech has been very efficient. When they've had success, they've taken away teams' breaks. So that will be a very good game.
Missed free throw for Bear, who is coming back from a broken pinky earlier in the year. He has been that instant energy guy, as he showed right there to get his own rebound off the miss.
Free throw rebounding again. We said it earlier. It was a point John Beilein made.
Didn't lead to a make, though, as Daly clanged it off the rim, and Michigan trying to put away Big Ten win number 2 of their season.
They made a good choice. They all got out to the corners.
Simpson's played a lot. We have not seen Eli Brooks in the second half.
No, he's gone with the hot hand. And when you're trying to get that definitive point guard position, some nights that's going to happen. Great next pass.
Simpson made an extra one back to Livers, who didn't know where the shot clock was. Violation, Michigan.
Simpson needed to shoot the ball. Livers gave him, that's a vintage drive it baseline, kick to the open three-point shooter. Maybe he didn't have a speed set. But if they're going to take the next step, if he's going to take the next step as a guard for John Beilein, he's got to be ready to shoot that ball and shoot it with confidence. And just like he did in the first half with the threes that he caught off the catch and shoot.
He's got a 15-point game going right now. The sophomore out of Lima, Ohio, who scored 59 points and 65 points in separate games in his senior season of high school against the same team. How'd you like to be them? Tip ball to the corner, 10 to shoot for Iowa, and another
There's
takeaway.
those hands. There's those hands, Jason. He's quick, tough hands. Just goes in there and gets the ball.
Very aggressive.
There's no doubt. That's why you can't just say, you got to have something more than quick and fast. Tough. All right, he's got, when you're aggressive like that, there's a level of toughness that comes with that.
Scrappy.
Scrappy, there you go.
Can I be your thesaurus?
I could use one. That was not my strong suit.
I doubt that. 2 to shoot. Abdur Rahman made the pass, and that's going to be another shot clock violation. But Michigan can use the time coming off the clock. Up by 17. 3:48 to go. Michigan trying to win its first in 6 against the Hawkeyes.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by Boost Mobile.
Sports Center, 11 Eastern. Linda Cohn, Kenny Mayne, Isaiah Thomas makes his long-awaited debut. Plus, what led to Kyrie Irving becoming a Celtic and will rank the best conference in college basketball? All this and more on Sports Center after Texas Tech, Kansas on ESPN and the ESPN app. Isaiah Thomas, 28.9 points a game, second most in Celtics history. This is last year. Big clutch shooter, as they say. Whether or not you believe in clutch shooting, he was that. And the little reunion. Is there any place that you went back to in your career that you were like, oh, it kind of feels different now that I'm back?
No, because I've never coached again back at Marquette. And I always felt really good going back to Michigan State, even though I was an assistant.
You did?
There. Oh, yeah, absolutely, because they were so respectful. And we were a part of the... Now, they were respectful at the beginning of the game. Then once the game started, a little bit different story. So, but to me, always really appreciated that. Great inside play there.
Cordell Pemsel has 6, the sophomore out of Dubuque.
But no, and I'm sure last year, Isaiah Thomas, as they say, became must-see television when he was in the playoffs. I mean, he really was. And I know Dwayne Wade is excited to be playing with him, and they've enjoyed the building up of that, watching that camaraderie of that team come together has been interesting.
What's it like for you to watch the growth of Dwayne Wade?
Oh, it's tremendous, because what he does and what he's done by the move that he made to Cleveland this year with coming off the bench, what he did when they put together the unit in Miami with LeBron James and Chris Bosh, he puts winning first. He doesn't put stats first. He gets a lot of accolades. He gets a lot of stats. He gets a lot of attention. But it's because he's always put winning first. And I'd always get a kick out of when people would talk about brand, or we've got to be a brand, or this is our brand. And I always look back to Dwayne Wade. His brand in college basketball was winning. Yeah. And that's exactly what he's done as a pro, which has allowed him to have such a strong brand off the court as well as on. So he just matured so much. And I love hearing other people talk about what he means to them, because I already know what he means to me and what he means to our family, and I know what he means to Marquette. I love when people get a chance to know him, see him, see what he's brought to Miami, see what he's bringing to Cleveland, see what he was like even in Chicago, with that being his home area. Love hearing people talk about that, because that's the guy that I know.
Michigan a 15-point lead. 2 and change to go. Hard drive didn't lead to a make for Matthews, and Iowa, which is 9-6 coming in and won 5 in a row against non-conference opponents, looks like it's going to drop to 0-3 very early on this Big Ten season. That's a long 3 for Bear.
If they're going to make a run, they've got to get a couple of stops right here. They don't need to foul yet. There's still time, but they can't let Michigan come down and run this down inside of the shot clock.
You're saying pressure the ball.
Well, now you don't want to foul. Now you don't want to foul. All right, in Michigan, it's just about at that point. They can't give up a bucket here.
Simpson, no. And Iowa still with a pulse here, 12-point game.
It's not about get the best shot.
Oh, Bear, my goodness, what a find. And Cook the finish.
Loose ball play, there's Bear. He finds the open man on the drive, he even finds it on his knees. That is a pretty impressive pass, and that's what they've got to have. They've got to play with that kind of spirit. This game is not over. It's not. He hits his free throw, they get into the pressure again. They still don't need to foul.
Took the miss.
Fell back off the line. Got to stay, got to hold his follow through, faded off the line before the ball hit the rim.
Simple as that, huh?
It really is. You have to finish your shot.
Trying to foul. Wagner was trying to hook Simpson and didn't get him, so now 15 to shoot. You might as well play the defense, right?
Yeah, now you don't want to foul under 10. Make him take a tough shot, get the defensive board, attack the rim on the other end.
Abdur Rahman to Simpson.
Great next
pass. Matthews the miss. 10-point game, still time for Iowa. Bohannon has not been able to seek out his shot in the second half. Cook has, and he'll go to the line for 2 more. A 70% shooter who just missed one.
Michigan got what they wanted. They got a wide open 3 out of the corner. Matthews faded a little bit on it. But it was a good possession for Michigan. Once it got down under 10, you don't want to foul and put Michigan at the free throw line.
After these free throws, you got to foul them.
Well, you still want to try to get something in the backcourt. You still want to try to get something on the ball. You still want to try. Well, you don't want to let it get past half court now. All right. I think right now you try to get it. You don't want it to go into the half court where they can come back and set their offense. Play for the steal. Play for the trap. Play for the tie up because they have the arrow. Then you've got to foul across midcourt.
Cook, 2 for 2 that time.
Michigan needs to get it across half court. There's the foul. So optimal would have been a better trap right there. They're discussing something there. They've had some miscommunication because they're both discussing it with each other.
Well, they still have a couple fouls to give us the problem.
Yeah, not bad, but they still got to come. You got to try to get the ball in that situation. Go in and try to tie up, force the trap because you have the arrow. So now again, they've got a ways to go. They've got 2 more fouls for the bonus. Play for the steal. Play for the trap. Put your hands. Now you got to get them.
Ooh, nearly a pocket pick. Bear with the back tap on Abdur Rahman. Foul call.
Well, it could go either way. It's an anticipation call in one sense.
How many times did you say it could go either way on the sideline?
Well, because it's really true. The game comes down to so many 50-50 calls. It really does. I'm not bailing out the referee. It's the truth. That one probably looked like a steal, but the anticipation of the foul is part of it.
Timeout Michigan. 8-point lead, 31.3 to go. We'll step aside. Fran McCaffrey talking to his team. We're out for 30 seconds. Come back with us. 50-50 ball here, Coach.
No doubt about it. And the game comes down to so many 50-50 balls. Right now, there's a bit of anticipation on it. Probably was a steal. They anticipated the call. They wanted the foul. That's a tough play right there. Tough play.
Fran McCaffrey, if you're a lip reader, probably want to keep that away from the kids. Teske, and a little acting by Simpson, but he's going to find his way to the free throw line. So Simpson coming into the game just 6 out of 11 from the free throw line this year. So not many trips there for the sophomore out of the state of Ohio.
No, and he's a better free throw shooter than that. There's no doubt about it. And again, it's like his jump shot. Be on balance. All right, go straight up into it, hold your follow through, get your knee bend, and that's all it really is for him. Sometimes he has a tendency when he misses to fall back off the line.
1-1, and he missed it. Iowa down 8 with the ball. Simpson right with Bohannon, who leaned in, and the rebound for Teskey. Leak out for Matthews, and the capper for Michigan.
Bohannon wanted the shot, didn't get the foul call.
Bohannon finally opened for a 3, a frustrating second half, a scoreless one until that for Bohannon.
Yeah, the possession before, his intention of wanting to score is right, but that's where you want to make the next pass. He's trying to go one-on-one against a bigger defender. That's a tough play, but we're splitting hairs here at the end of the game. The bottom line is they needed to do a better job of getting back. The live ball turnovers really hurt them in this second half, and they let those turnovers affect them. Too many times they didn't come back down. When they were really efficient, throwing the ball inside, playing the high-low, finding Cook, pencil throwing the ball inside. Those things were really good for them, driving it from side to side. That's where Bohannon, and I will say this again, Connor McCaffrey is a big factor in this team.
Out ill.
Because he moves the ball. He is a pure point guard. He moves it quick, and it hurts them not having that other handler on this team. And it really does. I was surprised how good he was in being able to come in and be ready to be an impact player. Not as an impact scorer, not maybe a guy who's going to play 30 minutes a game, but a guy that could pass the ball, make the game easier for his teammates, and play like a pure point guard. They miss him.
Iowa has Ohio State coming up on Thursday. Michigan will take on Illinois on Saturday as Iowa gets one more bucket. This is going to be a 7-point spread at the conclusion. 75-68. Michigan over Iowa. Final thoughts, Coach?
Well, it was. I'm really impressed with what Michigan did. They had 5 turnovers in the first 4 minutes, and they come out the rest of the game, and they were high-level efficiency. And I think their defense has gotten so much stronger. You could really see their defense improving a year ago. It's definitely gotten better the last few weeks of this season, and the fact that they came on the road tonight at a place that's been very tough for them to play, and were able to force turnovers and score up their defense, not to mention the threes they hit in the first half. But that's got to make John Beilein feel good moving forward.
His team goes to 2-1 in the Big Ten. Iowa drops to 0-3. 75-68, our final score for our entire crew. And Tom Crean, I'm Jason Benetti. Coming up next in the SEC, big game, Florida, Texas A&M from College Station. But for now, we send it back to the studio with Jay Williams and Seth Greenberg. Carl Ravitch, take it away.
All right, Jason, thank you very much. Appreciate that.